What's up everyone, it's the Marshal Commander back with another Star Wars video, and today we're going to be ranking the worst clone units to serve in. Like always, you may not agree with this list, and I will be giving my reasoning to try to convince you and teach you a little bit too. This list will take into account multiple things, mainly what units got sent to the worst battles in the war, not solely based off of what units got wiped out or sent to a bad planet every now and then. These units were sent to the longest and bloodiest battles in the history of the Clone Wars. So sit back, enjoy, and make sure to comment what unit you believe got the worst of the Clone Wars. Number 5. To open up this list, we have the 91st Mobile Reconnaissance Corps, led by CC-8826 Marshal Commander Neo. And that alone is enough to get them on this list. But they had some great Jedi generals to make up for his more heartless approach to the war, such as Mace Windu, Adi Gallia, and Sas Ali. So that's why they place as the least dangerous of these units. But they're still on this list, so they undoubtedly got the bad end of the stick. Firstly, the 91st had the job of being the first unit on Outer Rim planets, conducting recon and figuring out all the information they could before more Republic forces arrived. Their BARC troopers had it even worse than their normal troops though, riding around on their speeders with absolutely no idea what they would come across while surveying and assessing the planet. On top of this, Neo was notorious for caring more about the mission than clone lives, and that consistently led to very high casualties within the 91st. They fought in many tough battles, including the Battle of Ryloth, where Lightning Squadron took heavy casualties, even losing 3 ATTEs, which is insane for a unit that specializes in vehicle combat. The Battle of Malastare, where they took heavy casualties alongside the 501st and Doug soldiers before coming face to face with a Zillo Beast. The battle over Patatype Patuna, where they fought off waves of battle droids before General Grievous boarded their LAAT and started slaughtering them before taking their Jedi General Adi Gallia captive. And then of course their deadliest battle, the Siege of Seleucami. It didn't matter if you were a clone in the air, on the ground, or in space, the chances of survival were low. They didn't only fight B1s and B2s, they fought Count Dooku's Dark Acolytes who were former Jedi Generals. They fought Inzadi assassins in the whole of the Morgakai army. And if you don't know how deadly these forces were, let me give you a quick rundown. Firstly, the Dark Acolytes in this battle consisted of Sora Bulk, a former Jedi Master who was considered one of the greatest lightsaber combatants and instructors in Jedi history, who fell to the dark side while assisting Mace Windu in the creation of a pod. And the second Dark Acolyte was Tol Skor. Though, in my opinion, the least formidable of the Dark Acolytes, he showed he could contend with Jedi as skilled as Quinlan Vos. The Inzadi assassins were also formidable foes, though they could not contest with the Jedi, as we see when every single one of them is wiped out while attempting to assassinate Jedi Master Oppo Rancisis. Then of course we have the elite trained army of the Morgakai clones, who were directly trained by their host Bach and the Inzadi assassin Rath Kelko. They were skilled in ranged combat, hand-to-hand combat, stealth, and assassination. Definitely an army not to be messed with. But at the end of the day, the 91st came out victorious alongside the 327th and some other units. Though it was still one of the bloodiest battles in galactic history, even claiming the lives of numerous Jedi. To finish that off though, the 91st caught all the smoke. Even when they weren't battling, they were actively getting thrown through the ringer. Like that time when Boba Fett sabotaged their Venator just to kill Mace Windu and instead just took out a bunch of clones. They really couldn't catch a break. But now it's time to move on. Number 4. Next up on this list we have the 21st Nova Corps, the Galactic Marines. Though I have numerous videos on why they're so great, they're only so great because they prove themselves in the worst of the war. They could debatably be number 1 on this list, but luckily for them, they have extra training and extremely good leadership. Under the command of CC-1138 Marshal Commander Bakara and Jedi Master Ki-Adi-Mundi, they are the toughest and the most strategic clones in the Grand Army. But that doesn't always cut it. They fought in the longest battle of the Clone Wars, that being the Battle of Megiddo. Though the Galactic Marines didn't face extreme casualties, they lost their Jedi commander, Rivianu. The urban, cold environment was harsh, the mission was dreadful, and the Separatists fought hard to hold the planet, since a victory for the Republic was considered a sure way to end the Clone Wars for good. On top of this, the planet was home to the Kyber crystal that powered the Death Star's super laser. Whichever side came out victorious would have had the upper hand no matter what planets were on the enemy side. They also fought on Renvar in a mission to destroy Count Dooku's superweapon, the Dark Reaper, which was capable of killing anything around it by draining its force energy. Once again though, they only faced mild casualties. Another battle where they faced mild casualties was the Battle of Argonar. What made this battle so dreadful was the fact that the 21st didn't only face droids, but also a species called Uzums that were very similar to Wookiees, but more vicious and fierce. One of their more deadly battles was the Battle of Baz Pity, where they faced many casualties early in the battle and didn't catch their footing until later into it. Clones were slaughtered by droids and Grievous alike. Considering Ki-Adi-Mundi accompanied many other Jedi, including Mace Windu, Obi-Wan Kenobi, Anakin Skywalker, Plo Koon, Kit Fisto, Agent Kalar, Sasi Tin, Kofi Arana, Sook Bates, and Asharad Het, otherwise known as Darth Krayt. We can assume the 21st also fought alongside many other units during this battle that belonged to each of these generals. By the end of the battle, the casualty count may have been normal, but at the beginning it was a slaughter in one of the most brutal moments in the Clone Wars. Believe it or not though, this isn't the reason I put them on this list. The final battle I'll mention is one of the most unlucky moments they've had, any clone has ever had. That battle being the Battle of New Bornolix, where their weapons malfunctioned and they had to utilize hand-to-hand combat against B1s, B2s, Mandalorian Protectors, and BL Series Legionnaires, one of the deadliest lines of battle droids ever created. They faced heavy casualties, but at the end of the battle, the 21st was still standing and the enemies were in pieces, literally torn apart by the Galactic Marines. They truly made getting the worst part of the war seem easy. They embraced the suck, but it still wouldn't be fun to deal with what the 21st Nova Corps had to. So that's why they go on this list. Number 3, halfway done now, and we have a unit many of you may not have heard of. That being the 43rd Killer AWA Battalion, and probably whatever corps they belong to as well. Their survival rate was 0. Absolutely no clones from the 43rd survived. See, the thing that gets the 43rd put on this list over other units that got wiped out is the fact that they didn't just get killed off. They suffered in one of the longest and bloodiest battles of the Clone Wars. They were the first boots on the ground, led by multiple Jedi, tasked with intervening in a civil war. Imagine that, muddy, storming all day, every day, fighting droids and Jabimi nationalists that know the location much better than you, looking out for air attacks, ground attacks, and whatever else the enemy could throw at you. The 43rd didn't stand a chance and they continued fighting on. 27 Jedi killed, many Padawans included, over 9,000 clones, so that's probably the 43rd and some of their brother battalions, just wiped out completely. If you were tasked to the 43rd or the corps they belonged to, you were doomed from the moment you stepped out of the cloning pod. Not just doomed to die, doomed to misery every day you lived. Not only did they fight the war on the planet, they were stationed there, destined to remain there even if they miraculously did survive. The initial attack left 32 members of the 43rd KIA, and that's not including the 3 Jedi that died alongside them. They weren't just killed in a gunfight though, they were ran down by Hellfire droids. Imagine how terrifying it'd be to be part of that unit. They honestly could get number 1, but some clones face just as tough environments multiple times, and we just don't know enough about the 43rd because they were killed off so fast. So let's move on to the next unit on this list. Number 2, almost to the worst clone unit to be a part of now, but not quite yet. Now we have the 416th Star Corps, which served directly under Jedi General Kruk until he started to protest the war after so many clones died under him, which then handed command of the 416th over to Mace Windu. So we can assume they belong to the same sector army as the 91st. No wonder they got the worst. This would probably be the one sector army I don't want to be a part of. Honestly, I want to put these guys at number 1. It was really close. I'd even consider it a tie. So let's dive into them real quick. Firstly, they fought on Geonosis and like most clone units took heavy casualties. We don't know exactly how many, just that it was enough to start a path leading to General Kruk protesting the war. Then they fought in the Battle of Tyr, where Republic forces barely won, like seriously. Only General Kruk, their commander CRC-09571, also known as 71, and a few other clones survived. The battle was so bad that clones began to willingly and pointlessly sacrifice themselves to win, which the Jedi General did not find acceptable. He cared about every single one of them, a lot like Jedi Generals like Plo Koon. His unit was absolutely decimated by B1s, B2s, and spider droids. After this, they were deployed to Harun Kal, Mace Windu's home planet, to fight in the Summertime War, an eternal civil war that plagued the planet. Their mission was simple: keep the Separatists from winning over the highly Force-sensitive population, but there was a side objective assigned directly by Mace Windu to this unit: assist him in recovering his former Padawan Deepa Billaba after Vapad led to her falling to the dark side. Originally sent there to teach the Force-sensitives to fight the Separatists, it wasn't long before Kar Vaster, a dark side Force user, twisted Bilaba's mind and led her to commit atrocities against innocents. While deployed there, the 416th took numerous casualties, some of the most in the war. They had to worry about quite literally everything that planet had to offer. The Force-sensitive Kuranul, which are natives of Harun Kal, the Balaway militia, which consisted of many species, even tough ones like Wookiees and Yozams, like I said earlier. Weapons they've never faced before that had brutal effects, powerful Force users like Deepa Billaba and Kar Vaster who actively slaughtered whole squads of clones at a time throughout the battle, and of course, droids. By the end of the battle, the 416th was decimated, losing some of its key leaders, including 2 clones that are in my top 10 favorites. Their commander that we went over earlier, 71, and one of the coolest clone captains in Legends, CC 8/349, who ironically also went by the last two numbers of his designation, 49. Neither of them were killed by the militia or droids though. 71 was killed by Carvaster and 49 was killed by his guards. During this battle, many clones had brutal deaths, some of the most brutal ever, being slaughtered like they were nothing more than prey to everything around them. But one unit may have had it worse. Number 1. Last up, we have the 327th Star Corps in Dang. Were they known for getting the worst of the worst or what? On top of that, Jedi General Aayla Secura is noted to be extremely reckless, which conflicts with CC 5052 Marshal Commander Bly's more tactical approach. Surprisingly though, they always got the job done. Let's talk about them. First up, the Battle of New Halstis, where the 327th had to face off against Mandalorian protectors, and while they won, their combat strength went down over 60%. Then we have the Battle of Honegir, where clones were brutalized like never before, being killed in the most vicious of ways by the Nogri, and I'm completely serious about that. I believe this may have been the most vicious battle when it comes to just how dark the killing was. On top of that, Bly gets his best feat here when he shoots Quinlan Vos, saving Aayla Secura. We also have the battle over Quell, where a majority of the 327th's forces is once again taken out as they were ambushed by separatist forces, which led to them losing almost all of their fleet and the clones on board. And earlier we mentioned some other battles with them, such as Seleucami, which just ups them on this list even more, but I'm not going to go over that again. Then last but not least, what everyone knows them for, Felucia. Probably the worst planet to be on during the Clone Wars. The creatures, the plants, atmosphere, the environment in general was a clone's enemy. In one instance, even a full clone regiment just disappeared, never heard from again. Even a 501st Trooper who was only on the planet for a short time compared to the 327th described just how much it sucked.
On Felucia, the Seps dug their metal heels into the muck of that alien hellhole and dared the Republic to come in after them. So we did, only to be met with month after month of flesh-eating diseases, shrieking nocturnal predators, and other sights that haunt me to this day. Cut off and for all we knew abandoned by our superiors. Our only hope was Aayla Secura, our Jedi commander. Without her iron will, none of us would have come out of that mess with our sanity. Or our lives. When her death came, I hope it was quick. She earned that much.
So just imagine how it was for the 327th, who was there significantly longer than the 501st. Then when you think it's done, after Order 66, they get tasked to find Jedi that escaped the Great Purge. The 327th is also the one unit confirmed to have never been on Coruscant. Poor guys. Makes you feel sorry for them. But what doesn't kill you makes you stronger. Anyways, that's all for the video. I hope you enjoyed, and if you did, make sure to leave a like, comment, and subscribe. Let me know what clone unit you think would be the worst to serve in the comments, and I might make a part 2 of this. There's a few clone units I wish I could have put in, such as Lancer Battalion, the 501st, and the 41st Elite Corps, but they just couldn't make the cut in part 1. I guess we'll see how this does, and possibly make a part 2. I hope you enjoyed. I'll see you all in the next one. Join the Grand Army. Vodeon.
Looks like we got ourselves a batch of shinies, Commander. It's shiny and new, just like you. I have to admit that without the clones it would not have been a victory.